Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to be talking about our PDUs we're going to be using at our mining farm, 2.2 megawatt farm. So we're finishing up that farm. We have our first client coming in at 250 miners and also looking to expand to 500 miners. So we're basically finishing up that farm, getting it all ready for them. Bitcoin price is at 30,000 or more, as I made this video. About 30,000 or more, so the price has gone up, but you still have that opportunity to jump in and build yourself a farm. So we do that here at Crypto LLC. If you want to jump in, build a farm, we help you build it, we'll help you manage it. We set up everything for you, either a GPU farm or ASIC mining farm. Any of those work, and we can work with you building one out in any state you choose, any country you want. We do that here at cryptollc.org. So make sure you guys check that out. We also sell miners. We have ASIC and GPUs for sale, used, new, whatever you're looking for. We have a spreadsheet there. You can go check out our numbers, look it over. Also, the numbers are not perfect because price change all the time. So if you're interested, just say, hey, I want to get some updated numbers as of today, and we can send that to you. Before we get started, Bitcoin saves your wealth. We all know that. That's what it does. Saves your wealth. But Jesus Christ saves your soul. All right, let's get started. So this is a Raitan, or whatever you say that. Rayatan, and this is let me try to get a focus on that. This is a PX2-5956XV. So this guy here, this is a 3-phase PDU, does almost 35,000 watts, 48 amps, runs at 415. So each leg coming in here is 240, 240, 240, 240. We got a neutral. Leg 1, 2, 3, and a neutral. Then we got a ground right here. So this guy right here does 35,000 watts. So that's a lot of watts. You can put a lot of miners on him, and that's what we're going to be using. We're going to be running S19, the regular standard S19, not the Pro, not the J, not the XP, just a regular standard S19. Now, why do we go with that? Because it's the cheapest. We're getting those used for our client. So he's going to save a good amount of money on used. They're very good miners. You don't have to be scared that they are used. They're very good miners. We're running them at our other farm. We're running S19Js and the Pros, and they're just solid. So we're saying, hey, if you're looking to build an ASIC farm, just get S19s. Very solid miners. They last forever. Never had a single one burn. Just perfect miners. Great miners, great price. And then we're also running them in low power mode. So low power mode means that we're going to lower the efficiency from 29. Actually, for the S19, it's going to be 34. We're going to lower that down to about 26, 27 on the efficiency. So it's a great way to get great efficiency from a very old miner. Well, actually, it's not that old. It's only about 2 years old. I say very old. It's not that old. For ASICs, 2 years is nothing. Anyway, we're going to be using these PDUs. So why do we go with these ones? We go with these PDUs because it's a 415 volt PDU. That's the transformer we have. We're not doing a 208 or a 240 transformer. We're doing 416. That means that if you connect two legs together, you're going to get 416. Each leg is 240. And that means that when we load a miner, we're just going to have one plug going to the miner, and that'll give all the power it needs from that one plug, because only one of the legs will carry the electricity. So it'll have this one, let's say this one right here, this is 240. This one will just be blank, like it should be like a neutral, and then this one will be ground. So 240 neutral ground, 240 neutral ground. That's how it's going to be loaded. Instead of 240, 240, like AB and then ground, or AB, whatever, neutral ground. This is just going to be one. It's going to be loaded. And so each one of these is going to give us all the power we need. Again, we have 35,000 watts. We can't just use every single one of these plugs because that'll give us way more than 35. The load here, maximum load is 35,000. The PDU will trip. Your gauge will not be able to handle it. We're plugging in 6 gauge here. So 6 gauge is coming in on all 3 phases here, and the neutral and the ground. Also, we're going to be running these. Let me take one of these off. These very high quality copper connectors. So these copper connectors are really nice. You put your 6 gauge wire in there, right? You put your 6-gauge wire in this guy right here, and then you screw them on to the connection plate right there. And 6 gauges goes into this guy here. 6 gauges, very, very thick copper. 35,000. Now, how many can we run on this PDU? So we know that the load, maximum load is 35,000. We're going to be a little bit under that. We know we checked the maximum load on 6 gauge. That checks out fine, 35,000 or more. So we know that the wire itself, the copper 6 gauge coming out of this PDU is not the problem. The problem is just going to be the PDU. So you have to make sure that we're not overloading the PDU. And to do that, you have to calculate what your load is going to be from each miner. And the load from our miners is 2,200 watts, about 2,200 watts around there. We don't know for sure yet. 2,200 watts. And so what you do is you take 35,000, divide by 22, and that'll give you how many miners you can load onto this PDU. PDU is going to be attached to our racks, and we're just going to be plugging in. We'll kind of space it out as we go with the PDU. So probably just plug in like 1, 2 here, 1 here, maybe 1, 2 here, 1 here, 1, 2 here, 1 here, you know, and so on until we fill up 35,000. Again, we just divide 2,200 by 35,000, and then we know how many we're going to be loading on this guy. So that's how you do that. Now it has some features here that we don't really plan on using. We might, who knows. Some of those features are, you can see here, Ethernet connection. You know, it'll give you like load. It's got some USB connectors, some sensor connectors, VGA right here. Yeah, I think it's a VGA connector right there. We're not really going to be using that. We might, but as of right now, I don't think we are. Also, each one of these has a own breaker here. You can see it right here, on, off, and then pops just like that. So if any of these breakers goes over 20 amps, this thing will pop, which is great. That's what we want. Again, there's so many 20 amp breakers on here. It doesn't mean you can use them all. It just gives you the opportunity to maybe let's say you want to load this one at 20 amps, right? This one you only load it at 2 amps. This one's at 3 amps. This one's at 20. Then this one's at 2 amps, 3 amps, and and so on. Because you just have a bunch of stuff plugged in. You have a monitor, another monitor, another monitor. You know, you got whatever. This is kind of made for servers. So you might have something running here at 200 watts and something here at 100 watts and 300, 200, 400, 200, 200, 300, 400, and so on. So you need a lot of plugs, but you don't really use all 20 amps. In our situation, we're actually using 2,200 watts per plug. So we plug this guy in, it's already at 22, 22, 22, 22, 22, and so on. So you got to spread it out to hit that 35. And then also our power is going to be coming out of this hole here, that's 6 gauge. It's going to be coming out of here. It's going to be running along our racks and then runs all the way to our panel. So our panel is 400 amp, 415, 3-phase. Again, each leg is 240. It's running 2 parallel runs at 4-aught cables going all the way to the transformer. And you can watch us run those wires. So go to our channel, and you can see how we're connecting those to the transformer, how we're connecting the panels. You can see kind of the finished, or we're finishing it up there. So you can see how we're running that 4-aught, and then once we start installing these guys, we'll create more videos for you, showing you how we're installing these PDUs and running these at 6 gauge. So yeah, so that's how we're going to be running the farm here on these PDUs. It's going to be saving us a good amount of copper. You know, we'll have to run 20 amp copper, MC cable to each miner. We're just going to put this PDU on the rack, and it's going to run a whole bunch of miners all at the same time. Great way to save on wiring, all that stuff, and then also on the plugs. The plugs are expensive, you know. If you're going to be buying, let's say you were buying 2 of these in the United States, you bought this one and this one, right? You got 2 C13 to C13. Or if, let's say, you didn't have a PDU and you had to plug them in like the old-fashioned way where you have the actual metal like this. I'll show you. Okay, we're going to plug this guy in, like from the miner. Each of those plugs would be like $10. you know, $10, $15 each, and there's 2 of them per each miner. So you're talking about like $20 to $30 a miner just for the plugs, $20, $30 a miner, just for the plugs. And you got, let's say you got 500 miners, you know, so you got 500 times 20 to 30 bucks. Now you're talking about a lot of money you're going to be spending just on plugs. With PDUs, you don't have that. First of all, the plugs are cheaper because you're running just C19 to C13, or you're running C13 to C13, and then also because we are getting these plugs from China, so they're cheaper, and we're also getting them already manufactured for us, and we're getting them to run from a C19 to 2 C13s and then going into the miner. So basically you have one C19 coming out, and then it has a splitter that goes to 2 C13s, and then those 2 C13s plug into the miner. So that gives us the whole entire 20 amp possibility for any future changes or upgrades. So in the future, if we change out S19s for something else, we can still reuse those wires, they'll be fine. And we only require 1 per miner. So that saves us the space, that saves us the mess of all the wires, and it saves on the price because that wire is like $5. And then with shipping, it's about $10. So about $10 a miner. So you're saving more than half the money is being saved on the plugs. And then the huge mess you would have if you were running two per each miner. Now you're just running 1. So you're saving on the mess and you're saving on money. So it's great. Our client likes it. You know, it's awesome, obviously. You're trying to save as much money as possible when you're setting up a farm, especially PDUs, the cords, you know, the miners, all that stuff. You want to save as much as possible, and that's what we do here at Crypto LLC. You know, we help our clients build out a very economical farm, but at the same time, a high-quality farm. You know, we don't buy garbage for our clients. We get the best that we can, like these connections here. We bought these to test out how they're going to be fitting the PDU. We're going to be changing them out a little bit. We're going to get the hole a little bit smaller, but this is very typical how we're going to be hooking these guys up, as we want to go full copper. You know, we don't want to go with something cheaper like these ones over here, these silver ones. These are just from Home Depot. We bought these to try them out, and they are 6 gauge, so they should be fine. But again, copper is better. So go for copper, and that's what we're going to be doing, going for copper on the PDU setup. Well, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys like it. You know what to do. Hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, go to cryptollc.org if you want to set up a GPU ASIC mining farm. Best time to set one up is right now. Bitcoin's at 30K, so it's the best time to jump in. That's going to be it for this one. Until next time, bye.